This is the EVP Podcast.
You are listening to the EVP Podcast. I am your host, Beaker.
I am your host, numero dos, Ghosty.
He's the poop.
And I am your other new host today, Madame Hicks.
What?
Yeah, hi.
When did
What's
this happen?
going
Where's
on?
DVO?
I kicked him out.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Kicked him out to Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's where he's at today.
Let him
I
stay
know,
there.
I'm really mean that way.
You're much more attractive than he is.
Yeah, I'd rather look at you.
Ella, thank you. Well, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you
here,
here.
Laura.
It's been a little while since I've done a podcast, but I'm very chatty, so it's kind of up
Madame
my
Hicks.
Madame
alley.
Hicks.
Yeah.
Jesus, get it right, man.
Yeah, I forgot.
We're professional here.
I know I called you your birth name the other week.
Did you?
Yeah, I sure did.
Oh, that's okay, Del.
It's all right.
Yeah, so DVO, he's old. So he went to celebrate his oldness in Disneyland. So we brought someone with a lot of cool ghost stories.
I have a few.
A lot of stuff's happened to her throughout her life.
Yeah, let's hear all
A lot of
about
stuff
it.
recently. I've been investigating with you on and off for what, like 8 years?
It's been a while. Yeah,
7, 8
this
years.
morning I was trying to think of how long we've known each other, and it's been close to a decade.
Yes.
It's been a while.
I
Yeah.
still remember the first investigation we did. It's when you were with your co-host of your old podcast, Life on the Rocks, Please,
Aaron,
Aaron and Shayla.
Shayla.
And we took you guys to Family Tree.
Really? Gosh, that was out that long ago?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
I think that was the one I was like, I got off of work. I was supposed to work a 12-hour shift that night, and I like booked it from Salt Lake to San Quentin in like 45 minutes.
That was the night we met Caden.
Yep.
I think that was the first night I actually sat and talked to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So,
Long time ago.
and then I made you become my friend. I'm so sorry.
It happens. Now she comes to the potluck with us. She
Dude.
threatens my life.
I tell you, you can't get rid of me. Once I decide that you're my friend, you're stuck.
She's like a leech.
I know, but I'm fucking delightful. So what can I say? I don't feel that bad for you.
Yeah, it's not horrible.
So you're not podcasting anymore?
No. Can I do a quick story? Because I think that a lot of your listeners are probably our old listeners.
Yes.
From our old podcast. I'll do this really, really quick. So when Aaron and Shayla moved to Virginia, and then Aaron and I started a different podcast after Life on the Rocks, Please. We had plans for it. We were really excited about it, but then I ended up having throat surgery, and it was a very, very long recovery. And by the time I felt good enough to come back to it, it was we were just kind of done. We were ready to move on. We were really enjoying being normal friends and not the save the story for the podcast and always talking about the podcast. And so, we just kind of never went back, and I'm really sorry because we've had people kind of mad at us. But hey, now I can feel
Guest
in here
host.
when
You
people
can-
go to Disneyland.
Yeah, there
so,
you go.
You know,
Yeah.
that's my short story.
Well, thanks.
Thank you for listening to it. You look so thrilled. Okay, let's talk about ghosts.
Let's do it. Mm-hmm. So,
Where do you want me to start?
So, the beginning.
The very beginning.
When's the first time you remember encountering a ghost?
Oh, well, I wrote that down because I'm old and I need notes. So I grew up in South Ogden, up on the mountain. And the house that we lived in, I think as any little kid, there's always that part in your basement that you're afraid of. Definitely had that part of my basement that nobody else was afraid of, but I was. And to this day, I would say that, yeah, there was probably something there. But the first time I actually ever saw something, there was an area just down the street from us that we just called it the dead end. It was a literal dead end. But then past that, where the sign was, there were just miles and miles and miles of dirt trails that we lived on our bikes. I mean, I'm an 80s kid. Mm-hmm. We woke up, we brushed our teeth, we were out the door. Our parents didn't see us until,
Sun went
after
down.
dark. Yeah. We just lived on our bikes. And one day my brother and I were going down into just our regular path area, and neither of us felt like we should be there. There was no reason that we should have felt that way. We've been there a million times. And at the same time, we just both said, you know what, I think we need to go home. This doesn't feel good. And so I don't think I've ever ridden a bike that fast in my life. We got far enough away from where the dirt dirt road ends, and then the railroad began down to our house. And I turned around and I saw this really tall, gangly, what I believe now was a shadow figure. It had that just stereotypical, what you'd see in a horror movie, just creepy stance, just really tall and slender, no features, just a dark shadow. And this was in the afternoon, so it wasn't like dark or anything like that. But I remember that being the first time of feeling vindicated, that I felt like that there was probably some sort of such thing as ghosts, evil spirits, things like that. Yeah. And that, I think, was the moment that I was like, this is cool.
You weren't like afraid of it? You were just kind of...
I didn't feel good. I don't remember being... I mean, yeah, I was afraid, but it was more of a, I don't feel good about this. I'm not comfortable. But yeah, but there was also that equal fascination of, okay.
Like all kids, she was scared and fascinated.
Yes.
Where it's like, this is an actual thing.
This is the episode of Scared and Fascinated.
So yeah, and I've always kind of been that kid that was like, I don't like this, but I'm gonna
Fascinated
look into
by
it. Yeah, this is really, really cool.
It's like Steve Irwin. Oh, bite your face off. I'm going to touch it.
Pretty much. That's me in a nutshell still. So from there, I do have a couple of childhood stories if you want me to go there.
Let's do
I
it.
can talk fast, and if you're like, please
No, you don't
go
need
to a different story, let me know.
Good.
This was a story where I can say, yes, I was scared. You've been to the Union Station in Ogden,
Yes.
I assume? Okay. If you do not know, this is to the listeners, because I know that you guys know. If you do not know the history of the Union Station up in Ogden, Utah, look it up. It's fascinating. If you guys haven't done an episode on it, which I don't think you have, because I've listened to all your episodes and I don't remember when. Okay. Please do.
Good idea.
And if our friend is still off in Disneyland celebrating his birthday, I'll come back and help you.
All right.
So, my mom and I used to like to go to lunch there. The restaurant that was there is now a different restaurant, no longer there. But she used to like to go there with her friends and me. I was the youngest, and so I just was kind of the tag along with my mom when she went on her little social outings. And super haunted train station. At the time, it still had the original bathroom. Original compared. Okay, so it burned down at one point. But it was still old, even though they rebuilt it after it burned down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the original walls.
The original after the original. Yeah, now it's been remodeled and that bathroom isn't there anymore. But I went to the bathroom and it had just a picture an old fashioned train station bathroom from the 1930s, 40s, whenever it was rebuilt. Black and white tile, the ceramic handles on the sinks, and that you have to do the separate hot and cold.
That's like how the Rio Grande's bathrooms are.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's been years since I've been there.
It's been a long time since I've been there, but yeah, that's how their bathrooms are.
Well, they're kind of the same design, so they were probably built around the same time.
They're both train stations.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So anyway, I went to the bathroom, as you do when you're in the bathroom, and I came out to wash my hands, and as I was walking toward the sinks, there were probably 5, 6, 7 sinks all in a row. They started turning on one by one. I was the only one in the bathroom. I watched them turn on one by one and go down the row.
Like you actually saw the handles turning?
Yes.
How old were you?
10 maybe.
Oh shit.
So not super little, but not
a
teenager.
Yeah, I would have been scared too.
Yeah.
I left without washing my hands, which I'm a big believer in washing my hands. So yeah, but I was so terrified. I ran back to the table, and I remember my mom asking me, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And I was definitely I'm fine kid. Like I just didn't share my emotions much as a child or now. But I didn't tell her what happened because I was too scared. I just remember I had the French dip sandwich and I couldn't really eat it because one, my hands were dirty, but also because I was so scared. Later doing some research on that building, there's a guy called the Muddy Boot Man, and I wonder if it was him, but I don't know because I didn't see anything, but I did see the sinks turn on.
That is pretty crazy being able to see that.
It was, I felt like even picturing it back in my mind, it feels like it had to have been a movie scene. It wasn't. I was there.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
that is pretty
it was
wild.
terrifying. So I've always been a little apprehensive. I have been back there several times since, and I've always been a little like,
Just remembering that
mm-hmm.
PTSD from...
Yeah, it was but yeah, the last time that we went back there, I was like, okay, I want to go in that bathroom and just kind of face it. But they had expanded the new restaurant there, and so the bathroom has been remodeled. And it's now a small, like, I think 1 or 2 seater bathroom. So it's not there anymore. So I didn't get that closure. Needed the closure. But yeah, that was terrifying. That's when I was like, oh, this shit is real. Because you can't dispute that.
No.
It kills me that nobody was in there to see it too. I don't know that it would have happened if anybody else was in there, but I saw it happen.
Probably not.
So
Right, exactly.
there you go. Like, what do you say about that?
I know that's what I say when people are like, well, I don't believe in ghosts. And I'm like, well, that's cool for you and all,
That's
but like
great.
I've seen some shit that
Yeah.
I can't say like that didn't happen because it did.
Yeah, please debunk that, Zach Bagans. Like,
I love
go
showing
for
people
it.
video evidence, and they're like, "Oh, that's not real," and I'm like, "I'm the one that made the video.
took
I can
video."
tell you, it was definitely real."
Yeah. So that
That
was
would have been trippy to see, especially at 10 years old.
that's one of my more oh shit moments, because even if you see a full body apparition or something, you can still be like, you can kind of doubt what's going on in your mind. But
yeah.
when you see a series of things turn on by themselves, and they weren't automatic, there were I'm old, guys. There weren't automatic faucets. Sorry, I talk with my hands. I should put my hands down.
I'm sure all of our viewers are upset now.
Now that I noticed it, now I'm going to be
totally fine.
self-conscious.
Throw your hands around. It's
And I'm
okay.
not even Italian.
Put your hands up for Detroit, our lovely city.
Oh, hi, Detroit.
That's a song.
Okay, I'm like, do you have a lot of listeners in Detroit?
I know, I'm like, where's this coming from? Okay.
That's a techno song.
Oh, how funny. So yeah, that's my story there. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have any ghost stories from my childhood. I remember specific places that I was like, there's something here and I'm not okay with it. One of the places I wrote down was the dollhouse at Lagoon, the amusement park here in Utah, for those who aren't from here. I've been in there. Oops, sorry. Just touched my microphone. I have been in there at least one more time since I was a child, and I had to turn right back around and come out. I
That's the one in
I
Pioneer
can't be in there
Village, like
in
the
Pioneer
very
Village.
end.
And I love Pioneer Village.
I don't know if I've ever seen that dollhouse.
It's not on Main Street. It's the street up. Like
It's by the Elk, behind where you get the Navajo tacos.
Okay.
Leave it to me to point out. You know where this food
Yeah,
is?
right. Where the jail, it's like where the jail is and everything?
No,
no,
it's
further down by the blacksmith.
yes.
I don't know why I don't think I've ever remember seeing this doll. Or
It's-
maybe I just noticed there was dolls. And I'm like,
Do you know where the
move on.
carriage house is? It's like in that same
It's
alleyway.
the very end of Pioneer
It's
Village.
been a while.
If you saw it, you'd be like, oh, here.
Okay.
All right, that's it. We're
Something
going
about
Lagoon.
it. Yeah.
We're gonna do Frightmares next year.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah, and Lagoon itself, I mean, Pioneer Village is crazy haunted. But I like any of the other buildings, but I can't go in there.
With how much they're gonna cost next year, I don't think anyone's going in there.
Oh, really?
It's like $100 a day.
Everything costs more, man. Everything.
Well, they have
Right.
a brand new ride
Okay.
coming out too. So
Oh, do they?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't even go this year, but yeah,
Lagoon,
Great.
we did an episode on Lagoon
Yeah, we did.
Mm-hmm.
last year. It was good.
yeah. I was gonna say it's been a while. Do another one. it's a great place to talk about.
That dollhouse is creepy. I know Brandy, she won't go in that dollhouse either.
So, okay, I feel very
So
vindicated.
it's not just you.
I'll go
There's
anywhere
several
else.
people that do not like that dollhouse.
I cannot go from there. All right. So from there, my OCD notes take me to more of when I'm an adult. I actually was listening to, I don't remember. I listened to a couple of your episodes this morning just to like warm myself up. And it was the chocolate one, the Hatch.
Oh, yeah.
Hatch
chocolate
Family
place.
Chocolate?
Because I used to work up at LDS Hospital.
Oh, really?
And I have watched somebody die, and that's where it happened, was at LDS Hospital, and they actually passed away from a car accident. So when you guys were talking about the ghosts there that died in a car accident, I was like, oh no, because I've always felt just like, I mean, I'm not the reason why he died, not even remotely. I just happened to be there, but you still are like, oh my gosh, I was involved in your death. Anyway, but the timeline didn't match up to when he died.
He was actually hit by a car.
Oh, no, this guy's a drunk driver. But anyway, when I worked up at LDS Hospital, I didn't have any ghostly experience.
You rang?
You didn't stalk her when she worked at the
I said
hospital?
that, ghostly experiences. But we would have a lot of patients who were there. We knew that it was the end of life, and they'd be talking to other people and saying, don't you see them? And I had a couple of patients like that. However, I did work down in labor and delivery for a while, and I worked as a tech, which means you clean up all of the blood and the guts and the gore, which I don't mind. Like, that stuff doesn't gross me out. But I was cleaning up.
Some taint blood.
It's just blood. It's blood. I don't know. I'm just not easily grossed out. So it was a fine job for me. But I was cleaning up an OR after a C-section, and we had these big, tall carts that we had to stock and then take into the OR, and you have to make sure everything is stocked. And it was just in the doorway, and I turned around, and I was cleaning up and whatever, and I turned back around, and my cart wasn't there. And these were about, I'd say it had to have been at least 3 feet square and maybe
You didn't even hear
7
it?
feet tall. Oh, no. No. I go walking out the door, like, where'd the crap did my cart go? It's just wheeling itself down the, there were like, I think there were 4 ORs, and there's just a big aisleway in between them. And yeah, it
It
was
just took off on its
rolling
own.
by itself. And this was like at 3-ish in the morning because I worked graveyards. And I remember being so tired that I was just like, oh, fuck that. Like, I don't even care. I was so tired. I was like, give me my cart back. And I just
Oh my god.
grabbed the cart, went back in, and was like, you can have it back later. But I was so tired and like so irritated.
It's like, I don't have time for
I
this
got work
shit
to
right
do.
now.
I was like, I have so much to do.
Did you ask for security footage from that?
No, I should have.
Oh my god, that would have been
I
so
should
cool.
have. But I mean, I wasn't I was fully awake. I was tired, but I wasn't like hallucinating. And it's not like there was an incline. And even then, how did it get out the door?
Right.
But
and
yeah.
around making
Yeah.
corners.
I did ask some of the nurses if they've ever had any issues. And a couple of the nurses said, oh, we won't even go back there by ourselves. And I was like, great, thanks for the heads up. That's super neat. So anyway, so that's a work story.
That one's pretty good.
Questions, comments, thoughts, concerns at this point? So I'm not the only one talking.
So it ran,
No, we want you to be the one talking.
it went out the door and like turned.
Yes. Well, it was right in front of the door. So,
Okay.
but even still, the fact that I see what you're saying. Yeah, it had to have gone out and then
Made a
turned.
turn.
Yeah.
Because it was when I walked back into the ORs, there's 1, 2, 3 ORs, and it was this first one right here, and then the hallway went down that way, and then the NICU was at the end of that. And yeah, it was just pushing itself down the.
Some guy was
It
just
had
like,
somewhere to be.
someone had something else to clean up.
You know, I always say, if my house is haunted, fine, just pick up a vacuum every once in a while. I don't care. I don't care if ghosts
help out around here
are
if you're
trying
gonna
to
stay.
If you're gonna move stuff, clearly, if you can move stuff around, please help.
Like from my experience,
do
the
better.
ghosts in your house have not picked up a vacuum yet.
No, they're dumb.
Yeah. These ones just
Anyway.
kind of pop in and don't do much around here.
These lazy ghosts.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it saw what I was doing. It could have just helped me in that room. I wasn't done yet.
Nope.
Just
Maybe he thought you were done. It's like, all right, on to the next one.
No, I think it was just being a dickhead, just going, you know what you don't need to clean?
I don't know. Anyway, I remember just being irritated and being like, "Give me back the card." So that's how.
I wonder if they still have security footage from back then.
Oh gosh, this would have been 20 years ago.
Right, yeah.
It was a
probably,
long time ago.
Back before they did digital.
it might be on like a cassette tape somewhere.
That would be really cool. I would pay good money. Like, I could probably even because I was only in that part of the hospital for a couple months, so I could probably even pinpoint the approximate date that it happened.
That would be awesome.
That would be so cool. That would be really cool. But yeah, that was so long ago. I mean, now I would have been like, who do I talk to? But I mean, I was young and didn't think
Who
of
are you gonna
that. So.
call? If only you knew paranormal investigators.
20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, the Warrens were around.
Yeah, they ain't
You
gonna,
could have called them.
Sure.
Hans Holzer. He's a guy.
Well, if anybody works up at LDS Hospital and has access to that stuff from about 20 years ago
that would be.
in the labor and delivery OR, I would be happy to come help and look through footage because it would be really cool to see.
Let's break in and steal it.
Yeah, we should just find out who's security up there and just
Yeah.
be like, hey, let's look through
Yeah, I don't know.
some footage here. I know you guys got some footage.
It's got to be there if they have footage. Like,
There's another hospital up there somewhere that there's like half of it that's not even used. What hospital is that up there in Salt Lake?
We're talking about primary children's.
I don't know if it's
you might
primary
be talking
children's.
about LD because
It might be.
when they
got like
moved down.
they have an old section that's
Yeah, because when they built, this was before IMC. Like, IMC was being built when I worked there. IMC is now the new big hospital in the valley for those who don't live here. So yeah, they do a lot of cancer patients and stuff up there. But yeah, they probably don't use.
But I heard like
hospital.
these guys that do the maintenance up there in that whole section, they hate going in there because a lot of crazy shit happens while they're in there trying to work on things.
Oh, I'm sure. How could it not?
Yeah.
In the hospital.
I don't know. I was like, get me in there.
I know, right? Me too. I'd be like,
New life goals. Investigate a hospital that's still functioning.
that would be cool.
We've investigated a haunted hospital that's not functioning. It's a haunted house now.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah,
You still haven't been there. We need to take you there.
Oh, where?
Silent 49.
I still haven't been there. I don't know how I've not ever been there.
I don't know.
I do want to go back there again. That was pretty cool.
I do too. I want to get growled at again through the speaker. That was fun.
That was pretty interesting. I was fascinated.
I just growled at you through the...
Did you hear that?
That was hot.
Sorry, I keep touching my microphone. She does sound effects too. Anyway.
So what other stories do you have?
Oh my gosh, I'll just keep going down the line.
Keep going. That's what we want.
I think that the first experience that I ever had with somebody that I knew who had crossed over would be my grandpa. He was older, but he still passed kind of suddenly. And he was a very interesting guy, but he had a smell to him. The same smell from the day that I was born and met him to the day he died. He wore the same cologne. I would not be able to tell you what that cologne is. It probably was.
You just know the smell.
Yeah, it was probably manufactured in the 1930s, and he somehow still kept getting his hands on it.
It's FOP.
Is what?
FOP.
FOP. I don't know what it was, but
2 weeks from everywhere.
He had the same smell. But the night he died, I totally don't know what you're talking about. But I'm just gonna keep going.
It's the hair jelly that the heat.
Oh,
brother, we're out there. He wants Dapper Dan, and like I can get FOP.
Gotcha. Okay.
It'll be 2 weeks.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah,
I know, I'm like-
totally obscure references.
Okay.
Nothing to do with anything. I just like to derail the show.
Yeah.
See, I've got 3 teenagers, so I'm really good at being like, okay, da 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 da.
Sure. And then
I've done that with your oldest son.
Yes.
He's way smarter than any of us are combined.
He is. He's yeah.
He starts telling you stuff, and I'm just like, I'm gonna take your word for it.
Oh yeah. Oh, daily. That's just how we roll in our house. I'll be like, okay, Max, pat pat, and then keep going. But
That kid's a genius.
yeah, he's autistic, and so he's like, yeah,
He retains information
he's
very
He's a
well.
walking dictionary. He's crazy. But I still have to remind him, hey, but I have 27 years on you, so I'm still smarter than you. So don't try to
life
max.
knowledge. I have life knowledge.
Don't try to max-explain things to me. Anyway, he's so funny. But anyway, so Grandpa, when he died, actually the night that he died, I actually felt him come into my room. I don't know how to. I know that you guys know what I'm saying. I know that a lot of the listeners know what I'm saying when I say that. When you just feel, without a doubt, that somebody came walking into the room. I was laying in my bed, and I felt his presence. I felt a pressure. I could smell him, and I was like, "Oh, Grandpa's here." So I sat up and I looked up. I was still sitting on the bed, and I looked up to where I kind of imagined his face would be, and I said, "Grandpa, you died. You died today. You need to go find Grandma," because she had died in 1990. And I could feel him walk out and leave my room, and I was like, "Okay." Like it didn't even feel like a big deal to me. I was just like, "Okay, he got my message." Not even maybe 10 seconds later, Max was a baby at the time, he started screaming from his room. Screaming. So I ran in there, and to say he looked like he saw a ghost, I think was actually pretty accurate. I think that my grandpa went in there and like woke him up, and
It's a very good chance he did that.
Wow.
so yeah. All 3 of my kids, Layla's the only one that has still retained, my daughter retained a sense of being able to sense spirits and see spirits. The boys, it's kind of wafted away. But yeah, I think that the timing was just a little too weird.
Coincidental, like it was.
Yeah, and he didn't wake up crying. First of all, he didn't wake up usually without me going in and being like, "Hey, wake up." He's still that way as a teenager. But yeah, he never woke up screaming. He would just wake up talking to himself, and so yeah, I think that's what happened with
Yeah,
Grandpa.
probably saw something that he wasn't used to.
Yeah, I think so. But he was 1 when he died. No, yeah, he was 1.5 because the twins were newborn, and he was 1 when the twins were born.
He was
So.
just going around saying his goodbyes. Like, I'm out of here. Probably not.
No,
He was probably
knowing
confused.
Grandpa.
Didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I know. I think he was confused. And he wouldn't have been he wasn't a super pleasant person. So I don't think he would have made a point to go around and say goodbye to his great-grandchildren.
Nope. She dismissed me. I'm going to go piss her off and wake up her kid.
Pretty much. I think that's what happened.
That bitch.
Yeah. So anyway, I have a couple of scary things that happened, but I don't know if we should go into the lighter things.
We don't like
Should we
scary stories.
things?
No.
We don't like scary stories on this podcast?
Yeah, we do.
No.
That's all I want.
Okay, boys, you're gonna have to thumb wrestle or something. Do I tell the scary stories or not?
Oh, yeah.
I have a story where I was
of
held down on my bed, and then I have an oppression
wasn't
story. Tim was.
I wasn't there.
You weren't being
Wasn't me.
rapey Beaker wasn't there.
Grape. I was not being grapey.
Yeah, so I used to sleep on the right-hand side of our bed. Now I sleep on the left-hand side of the bed. I actually can't even get on Kevin's side of the bed anymore because of this incident. It wasn't sleep paralysis because I wasn't. I at first I thought maybe it was, and so I looked into what that was, and it wasn't that. Anyway, one night we were just sitting there watching TV, and I felt. Oh, so I am making all the noises. I'm so sorry. I'll use my fingers. I was about to do it on Tim, but then I realized that would probably be a bad idea. So
I won't mind.
I had my legs on the bed, and I could feel two arms.
I definitely don't mind.
Well, then the people can't see. Tim's like,
Do it.
Anyway, I felt two arms pressed down on my legs like that, and I could tell where each of the arms was, and it pressed down really, really, really hard. And Kev was just watching TV, and it
so
shocked
you're
me so
awake?
much. I was awake, and I turned to Kevin. I was like, "Oh my gosh, Kevin! Oh my gosh, Kevin!" And he was like, "What?" And by the time he said that, it had lifted, but it felt like somebody was kneeling on the side of my bed and then took their arms and was pressing down on my legs. So that kind of freaked me out a lot, and by kind of I mean like a lot. So
Did you see anything like indenting on you at the time?
no, I was laying flat, and so
okay.
I wouldn't have seen. So I don't know what that was about. I have no idea. I don't know if it has anything to do with my Cherokee Indian friends that we will talk about in a minute. I don't think it would be them though. They just didn't seem like the touchy type.
No, it wasn't them.
So anyway, I had that, and then
You've had a lot happen at your house.
yeah, not recently though. You've kind of
Well, yeah.
cleared it out.
I think I went there 2 or 3 times. I know at least twice.
At least twice. Yeah.
So I was there once with Brandy. Mm-hmm. And that's when we crossed over a little
Harrison.
child. Mm-hmm. It's Harrison, yeah.
We can jump to that if you want.
Yeah, we can jump around. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I really actually don't like this story.
What's this story?
The oppression story, but I think it's an important one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's tell a wholesome story.
A wholesome story.
And then
Okay.
we'll go into a dark story.
Okay.
Let's lighten the mood a
There's
little
an
bit.
EVP that goes with this story, and I'm still looking for it. I will continue to look for it tonight. We're not sure which computer or device it's hiding on, but it's an EVP that has to do with this kid, Harrison. Anyway, so let me tell the story about this kid. Okay, so we built our house in 2000. What year is it? 2003. And brand new house. And so everything that has happened there, we know wasn't because of previous owners or anything like that. It had to have been stuff that, and you've helped me out to understand this too, with the land, the people who used to be on the land, and then also people that are just spirits that are like passing through. Anyway, we went through this phase where we had a lot of stuff happening in our house, a lot of stuff moving around, doors closing when I knew I was the only one home, lights turning on and off, things like that. And it got to the point where I called your old investigating team.
Yep.
But the thing that happened that made me say, okay, we've got to have something happen, is my kids were little, but not so little that I couldn't leave them alone for a little while. And I was downstairs cleaning the boys' bathroom, and I heard a little person giggling behind me. And I thought my kids were just being silly and teasing me. And so I was cleaning the floor, and I got ready, got in position, and I turned around and I jumped and said, boom. And there was nobody there. And I thought, oh, they just ran and hid. So I ran around the basement, was trying to find my kids, and they weren't down there. And I thought, okay, well, they just must be really fast, little buggers. So I went back to the bathroom, cleaning. And then I hear, hee. And I'm like, oh, those little stinkers, where are they hiding? Like, I was impressed at this point, right? I'm like, dang, my kids are amazing. And so I do the same thing. Boo! Nobody's there. And so I'm like, where did they go? Okay, seriously, where could they have hid? So I went upstairs to look for them, didn't find them upstairs, and then I eventually found them in the garage. They were just coloring with some of that chalk stuff on the driveway. And I said, how did you guys get up here so fast? And Layla said, what do you mean? I said, you were just downstairs. And she said, no, we've been up here for a while. Well, you've just been cleaning. My daughter, she is a straight arrow. She does not make stuff up. She doesn't like, even when she was teeny tiny. And I said, okay, you are serious. None of you were just in the house. And she said, no. Great. That's super fun. And so we had that happen. And then not long after that, do you remember Shayla and I went to the Queen Mary? We spent the night on the Queen Mary, which I can tell that story in a minute if you want. And we came back and we did an episode about our night on the Queen Mary, which never again would I ever spend the night on the Queen Mary. It did not go well. But anyway, we actually caught an EVP on our show. As clear as day, a little boy saying, boo!
Yeah, I remember that
And Shayla and I were the only ones at my house. Like, our kids were at school at the time. And yeah, at night. So that was the EVP that I was trying to find.
What?
So I will still try to find it.
I remember that one. I remember she was all excited when they heard the EVP when she was going back and doing her editing.
Yeah. No, a listener caught it.
Oh, a listener caught it.
Yeah,
that's what happened. I don't remember things correctly.
I forgot for a second too. So with that happening, and then we'd had 2 incidences where my son and also his friend had seen a Native American in our basement, and it was hard to explain the situation out of this one. But my son's little friend came up and he said, I just saw he called it an Indian, but I know they're Native American. I just saw an Indian stick his head out of your wall, and I was like, oh, yeah, sometimes the sun comes through the window and there's a thing.
Weather balloons and fragments of light.
Yeah.
Swamp gas.
Yeah.
Swamp gas reaches a certain elevation and rainbows happen.
It was crazy. But, sorry, Tim. But Ty had already seen him, so this was the second incident of that. And then we also had an incident where Erin was down in my cold storage room downstairs. She came over for dinner, and I'd asked her to go down to get a can of olives or something. And she went down there and was like, I cannot find it. And then right then something went and knocked it off of the shelf and showed her where it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I didn't see that, but she came up and she was like, I think you're Native American. Just help me out. And it was pretty funny.
He hides in your little pantry down there, doesn't he?
No, he not anymore.
Not anymore.
I don't think he's down there anymore. I think he's outside.
It's been a while since I've been down there.
Yeah, no, I don't feel anything down there anymore. But anyway, we had a couple. We'll be here all night if I keep going. But we had a lot of things happen. I finally called Tim and company, saying I need you guys to come and They're freaking my kids out. They're freaking my kids' friends out. I need my house cleared out. So yeah, do you want to tell the story of when you guys came over and?
I'm going to tell what
Do you remember?
I remember some of
Is
it.
it going to be correct, though?
No, probably not.
Okay, perfect. I like it.
I'm going to make stuff up.
Yes, please do.
I remember coming over, and I do remember. It's kind of like we don't do a whole lot of investigating when Brandy's there, just because she can kind of see everything and know everything that's going on before she even walks in the door.
Yeah.
I do remember we kind of investigated. Because I remember where your recording studio was in the one room, and then you had the 2 bedrooms with the bathroom in the middle. Mm-hmm. And I remember we went into Max's room because I believe Max was experiencing stuff like moving. I think like his Legos or something.
Yeah. And he would know because he's so OCD that if anything gets moved, he knows.
Yeah. So his stuff he was constantly talking about how his stuff was out of place. It wasn't where he left it.
I'm pretty sure he's pretty particular on where he.
We
things.
left his room locked because he kept blaming his siblings and me, and so we left it locked. And I'd be like, "See, none of us went in there."
And I think I was able to kind of fill him out. Harrison, I believe, is what Brandy said his name was. He was in the closet in Max's room when we got there, and I don't remember a whole lot of the investigation part that went on. I just remember when. he finally decided he was ready to kind of cross over. He was ready to move on.
Because he was looking for his mom.
Yes. And I just remember, so Brandy opened the light to help cross him over. And I remember the overwhelming feeling of like joy that you felt. And I can actually, it's weird because I'm like getting that feels like right now. Like I just
You're
remember
remembering all of it, yeah.
I just remember how excited you were because you could actually like, I don't know if, I don't remember if you could see him or hear him, but I know that you knew like when he had crossed and when his presence was gone.
Yeah.
And I just remember like that kind of like motherly love feeling you had for him when, and how happy you were that he moved on.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that for sure. Yeah. Whoops. I'm like the worst guest ever. I'm making all of these random sounds.
I'm usually the one making all sorts of noises.
That's okay. I usually hear the stuff that's going outside and I'm the only one that hears it.
Oh,
that's
funny.
Call it out.
Here, we just ignore it.
It's the EVP podcast. So yeah, you guys talked to Harrison. She also found him later in the storage room because he was hiding from the Native American who wouldn't tell us his name. She also talked to the Native American. He was a chief, and he was under that little room under my stairs.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't tell her his name, but he wasn't happy that we were on his land. And so she talked to him about how we acknowledged that it's his land and thanked him for sharing it with us. And I don't think we've ever had any contention with him since because he knows that we're sharing it.
No, because I've been back since and I didn't feel any.
Yeah, I haven't felt
animosity or
anything like that.
The thing with we've learned with Native American spirits is if they're put in charge of something like protecting an area of land, they don't feel that death releases them from that duty. So when you built a house like you did on an area where Native Americans used to live, they still look at it as, and it's the same thing at Benson Gristmill. There's a Native American spirit that does the same thing there. They look at it as it's their land, but fortunately he was also willing to compromise and understand kind of how things were, and was willing to live, with you guys there and not like be frustrated with it or anything like that.
Yeah, and I know that he's still there. I feel like he's an ally.
Yeah, I'm sure he's still there protecting the land, watching over it, and he realizes that you guys aren't there to do anything like hurt the land or do anything negative.
Yeah.
Especially with all the animals you have there.
Yeah, it's a really fun, it'd be a really great place for them to be. And I built a teepee in my backyard. So they even have that now. But yeah, I feel like they're just friends at this point. So,
he's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
Like I haven't felt any like negativity from him at all.
No, I did from the beginning, just more irritation where he was just wondering, who are these people?
He wanted to see a chicken town built. He wanted you to build a little chicken town.
Right, and they're getting a Western chicken town. That's right.
She had a bunch of chickens at one point.
I do still.
And horses, and I think there was a pig at one
I
point.
remember seeing her post about building her little KFC chicken coop or something.
Yeah, I spend my time wisely.
That's awesome. He was waiting for that. And once he saw that, he's like, "Okay, now I can go.
Now we can hang out with the chickens." Yeah, we got turkeys. Yeah, it's
moving
fun.
into this chicken town.
So yeah, I feel like that's all good. But yeah, with Harrison, I didn't mention I did see his shadow one night. I woke up as parents. Sorry, as a parent, you know what it feels. It feels like. Actually, you'll be glad that you're not when you hear this. When you can feel your child staring at you while you're asleep, and their face is like right here, and you wake up and you're like, ah.
Oh no! I totally experienced that this morning with an 80-pound dog.
Okay, there you go.
I woke up and he was just
same thing,
staring at me. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I opened my eyes and I was facing my windows, and so I could see the outline of and a little bit of the features of the face, and I was like, motherfucker, what do you want? And so I turned on my light and gone, and so I think that was him.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, I think that he was like, okay, you got little kids and you're a mom and you got like, I think he felt safe-ish at our house.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, when Brandy crossed him, I don't think the emotions that I felt were mine. That was a very unique experience. If you ever have a chance to be in a room where a medium is crossing a spirit, take that opportunity. Because I remember feeling joy that was indescribable, but it wasn't mine. I think I was feeling his mom's joy on the other side of her and them being reunited. And then when Brandy closed the whole portal or whatever she did, it like immediately like disappeared, and I was just content and like happy for them. But that was a very, very interesting experience. But yeah, we could talk about that all day too.
That's pretty cool.
Anyway, yeah.
So I didn't experience that when I was in a room when she had crossed someone over, it was like a different feeling. I didn't know that she was doing it at the time. It just was like a
really?
different, almost like a vibration that was happening that was not normal. And then I had asked Beaker afterwards. I was like, "Did she just cross someone over?" And he's like, "Yeah, we just talked about it." I was like, "Oh, I didn't even hear it. I didn't hear what you guys were saying."
Yeah.
I was like,
Was this
I
at
was too
the-
busy feeling it happening.
Was that at the antique store? Or
No,
somewhere
that was
else?
at the when she did an astral projection over to that house that we were doing finding things out.
Oh, okay.
We were on the old team with.
So it was the house that was on the corner where you felt the twins.
Yeah, at that house, and then when she was crossing,
I know exactly what he's talking about.
yeah, when she was doing that, I'm like, did she just? He's like, yeah, we were just saying that she was going to be doing that. I'm like, oh, I didn't hear that, but I felt
But
everything.
you felt it.
Yeah,
It's crazy, huh? Where you're
Yeah, it
like,
was
Wow,
weird.
there's
I
a
don't know.
shift that just happened. Yeah.
I've been around it so much, I must be numb to it. Like I don't think I've ever felt anything like either one of you just explained or experienced.
like when she crossed someone over in Santa Quinn at that print shop, I didn't feel that like, and I was there witnessing it, so maybe I was like ready for it or something. I don't know. But the time when she did that other time, I was like, I didn't know she was doing it. And I was feeling all this weirdness going on.
I think the
so
only
interesting.
thing I felt on that one is because the girl was still holding my hand when Brandy was crossing her over.
Right,
I
so
felt
yeah.
her like let go of my hand. That was the weirdest experience ever. Just like walking down some stairs with my hand out, like I'm walking a kid down the stairs, but there's no one like physically there. But I could feel her hand in my
Uncle
in my hand.
Beaker.
Yeah, Uncle B.
Uncle Beaker. I love that. That's cute.
What's the scary story here?
The scariest story is
If it's too much, like you don't have to talk. About
no. I just think it's important because I know that this story has helped other people before when I have told this. So this was after, I think, the whole Harrison thing. I went through a phase where I was like super, super into the paranormal. And I think that just like with anything else, if you're really looking at something and looking into something, that of course you feel more, you see more, you experience more. And I think that something found me during that time, something dark, and it latched on. And it's happened a couple of times. Like we'll talk about the no face guy that
Yeah.
Kate and you got rid of for me. But that one wasn't as bad. That one just made me pissy. This one that I want to talk about, it really, it was like soul sucking. I had little kids. I was tired all the time. I'm a workaholic, and so I just felt like I wasn't having any purpose because I wasn't working at the time.
You're lost.
Everything was
almost.
snowballed. Everything was snowballed. And so I just thought, well, I think I'm just depressed. I think I'm just this, that, and the other. And anyway, it got really bad. At one point in time, it got worse than I ever admitted. I'm
Wasn't this-
fine type of person.
Was this during the time when you were like going to California to see the specialist about your medical thing?
No, this is before.
Oh, before that. Okay.
This is before then. We can actually talk about that if you want to, though. That was life-changing in a good way.
Okay.
But no, this was before that. Sorry, we're going to leave you on pins and needles
It's
over
okay.
there,
I
Mr.
just
Ghosty.
can't wait.
It's like, yay! She's still talking. She has so many stories.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
No, I just was super depressed, not myself. And there was a day that Kev, we used to be a church-going family, not so much anymore. But Kev, it was a Sunday, Kev got up, and I just said, I can't do it. I can't do it today. I just need to be home. I need to be by myself. Can you just take the kids? And so he, bless it, he's such an easygoing guy. He was just like, okay, sure. Like, didn't question it, anything, went to church. And while they were gone, I went from like a dark shade of gray to black. Like everything about me, my soul, my outlook on everything. And I just was kind of done. And I think that a lot of people have felt that way, if not all people at some point in their life have been like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Everybody's going to be better without me. You know, it's sad to say, but I just is a human. I think that that's something that you can feel. So I was sitting on the edge of the tub in my bathroom, and I remember having a moment of feeling like excitement because I realized that I was done. And I felt really excited about being done. I felt really excited about taking my own life, about getting out of this, about just getting away. Just, I can't do this anymore. It's my out. And when I started to feel excited about it, I was like, wow, okay, I guess this is justified. This is what I'm supposed to do. So I was sitting there and I was like, okay, I have like 2 hours before Kevin and the kids get home. what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And just the fact that I didn't have a plan or anything, and that this came on so suddenly, I think verifies what I think was actually happening. So while I'm sitting there and I'm trying to decide what to do, I felt, and maybe you can help explain what this was, I felt laughter, and not like evil laughter, and also like a pressure as in, come on, do it, like evil laughter, but it was coming within me. I felt like it was in my chest, and I felt like it was egging me on, like, yeah, you should do this, you suck, all this stuff. And it didn't take me very long, but at first I was like, okay, yeah, this is being verified that this is what I should do. But then I had this moment of, wait a minute, that's not me saying that. That's not me feeling that. What is going on here? And I think that honestly, the only thing that made me think that way was because of all of my experiences with spirits and with ghosts, is that I could recognize that they were real, that this was a thing, that you can be. I don't think I was possessed, but I think I was oppressed, that there was something within me making me feel this way and making me feel like this was a good idea and this is what I needed to do. But the actual me, the Madame Hicks me, was saying, that's not you saying that. And you know that. And the minute that I realized that, I was like, oh no. And I just remember screaming in my head and out loud, I know what you're doing. Leave me alone. Get out of me. Get away from me. You do not have control over me anymore. Get away. I kid you not, I was fine by that afternoon. Because it took a little bit of work.
You recognize that too,
to push that out of me. But that really changed my thought process on mental health a lot, which has been a good thing because I have a lot of anxiety, depression, and mental illness in my family that unfortunately has been passed on very strongly to my children. And it's really helped me to be able to help guide them too. But I've shared that story before, and I actually have a friend who lives in Texas who said that story saved his life because he was having the same feelings, and he was like, well, wait a minute, what if this isn't me? What if the same thing is happening to me that happened to Laura? So I always like to share that story when I can, because you just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. I mean, this shit is real. Like, we've seen this stuff, we've felt this stuff, we've experienced this stuff, and it can affect you in really, really bad ways. And you need to know that you're stronger than that and that you can overcome that no matter what. Anyway. So that is bar none the scariest experience that I've ever had. But I was so grateful for the knowledge that I'd had from other ghost experiences that I'd had
you were
to
able
put
to
two and two
recognize
together.
that,
Yeah.
I had something similar happen.
Yes. I think we've talked about that before.
I was actually, when I recognized it, I was actually on my way home from work. But this was a couple years ago, all before COVID, so probably 2018, 2019. I did some energy work for someone. And when you do energy work, sometimes you take on that person's energy without realizing it. Mm-hmm. And I have this bad habit of not properly cleansing and grounding myself after doing energy work. So I, for 2 weeks, had taken on this person's depression, and I was like, I'm done. I'm over this. Thinking of ways I could do it. Mm-hmm. And I still remember exactly where I was. I was coming up 8600 South, about 7th East. I was a little, actually more like 900 East. I was on my way home from work, and it just kind of hit me. I'm like, wait a second. These aren't my emotions. So I have a little mantra that I use when I clear myself. I actually learned this from a mutual friend of ours, Newman.
Newman.
No, once I realized it wasn't mine, I simply said to myself, you can say this in your head or you can say it out loud. It works for me. But I said, I clear and release myself of any and all emotions that are not my own. Mm-hmm. And I clear and release myself of any negative energy and any energy that doesn't serve me in a positive way. And I use that quite a bit, all the time, actually. Like anytime I meditate, I say those 2 or 3 things to kind of help get myself in the right space. But not saying that's like, I don't know exactly what brought it on in your case, but I think it's awesome that you were able to actually like recognize what was going on.
I feel so lucky that I was able to recognize what was going on.
Well, I think your experience dealing with the paranormal kind of helped that. Not everyone's
For sure. Yeah.
Like you said, your friend in Texas, like he didn't. I'm assuming he doesn't dabble into the paranormal.
No.
So that's not going to be that's not going to be everyone's go-to. Like they're not going to be like, hey, maybe I'm being oppressed. Mm-hmm. But fortunately, I know that here in Utah, anyways, I don't know how it is in the other country, the rest of the country, but they have streamlined the process. If you need help, there's I believe it's 888 now, the suicide prevention hotline. Mm-hmm. It's just pick up your phone, dial 38, and you'll get somebody that can talk to you.
Yeah, I don't think they do that here yet, do they?
I thought they did.
They have like a full
They have
number.
a full phone number,
Yeah.
but they need something quicker since Utah's like
I
the
thought
number
we were-
one state for.
I thought we were on that.
Maybe. It's possible.
But,
You gonna call it right now?
No.
I don't like.
Call it.
Just
I-
the-
I'm
Watching
not.
his phone.
I'm not
Call
going
it.
to call it.
Call
I'm not
it.
calling it. But
Call it.
But yeah. So if you need help, like there is, and that brings up a casino.
Casino.
I know that I'd have to look it up. There. We'll find it and post it when we post this episode. But
Yes, please get help.
but
if
yeah,
you-
call somebody.
Yeah.
Don't just
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody.
Yep.
But no, that same feeling that you talked about, getting that excitement, that joy, like, hey, this
Mm-hmm.
is over. When I worked at Sports Authority, there was a lady that came in and purchased a handgun. I didn't help her buy the firearm. Someone else helped her pick it out. I was the cashier. I was the one that rang it up for her.
Yeah.
But for my little bit of interaction with her, she seemed perfectly fine. She was happy. Didn't seem like there was anything wrong with her at all. And I guess she purchased it, went out to her car right there in the parking lot and shot herself.
Wow.
What the hell?
So
Well, I think that's the thing is that once you have decided to, I think that is the scary thing is that you do feel that peace. I dare say.
Like
where
what you
you're
were
like-
saying, that excitement.
Yeah.
Like I wonder if that was her in there in your interaction
Probably
with
where
her,
she was just
that-
like, "This is what we're doing," and yeah, I think that there's so much
yeah, just
influence out there that can make you feel like it is a good idea, and it's not. It's not. There's family and friends that need you and love you.
so
yeah.
yeah. That's
Anyway, should we talk about when I got scratched?
sure.
Yeah, about some cat scratch fever.
Let's move on to something a little less sad. I know it's so important to talk about, but yeah. I think we've covered it really well.
All right.
Off Broadway. You guys have talked about Off Broadway, right? It's no longer there.
No, it's not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I know
They
the
were-
owner, the guy that used to own it anyways.
Kevin's their business manager.
Oh, is he?
Kevin's my husband.
I know
Yeah,
it's
he
the guy
manages
that
a lot of
owns
businesses.
the Midvale Performing Arts Center. He's the guy that used to own it, so
Yeah. Yep, Kevin knows them really well. So yeah, Off Broadway Theater. Did you ever have a chance to go down there
I
in
never
downtown
did,
Salt
nuh-uh.
Lake? Creepy old theater, amazing. The second you walk in, you're like, yes, because you can just feel everything going on in there.
you should talk to your buddy Big Buddha about his time there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He's got stories.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, how could you not? Anyway, got scratched. I'll keep this short. So sorry, I told you I was long-winded. Was up in the sound booth with a mutual friend of ours, and we were just chatting, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, son of a bitch, like, ow. And he was like, are you okay? And I was like, luckily we were good enough friends. I was able to pull down the back of my shirt and be like, did I get scratched? And lo and behold, just what you hear about all the time, the 3 scratches, just plain as could be on my shoulder. So something wasn't happy that we were there. And then that same night, we were with a bunch of mutual friends. And Kenny D, Kent Dunn,
Yeah, he doesn't listen to this, but you can talk about him.
our friend, well, a lot of your listeners will know who he is. Anyway, mutual friend of ours. We thought that, so Shayla and I thought that he was pulling a prank on us because we were down on the stage and we were looking back up at the sound booth, and I was telling her about how, oh my gosh, I just got scratched, and Greg was up there with us, and right then we saw a figure. So you had to come up the stairs, this way, and like it's one of those winding staircases to get back up to it, and we saw a person go up that looked like they were wearing a plaid shirt, but it was a full figure, and we both saw it, and we thought that Kenny was just pulling one off on us because we'd been playing a game of like basically hide and seek that night. And we were like, Kenny, we saw you. And we're like yelling, Kenny, we saw you. Kenny! And then next thing we know, Kenny's behind us and he's like, what? We were like, wait a minute. Who is that? If you're right here, who is that? We just saw you walk up the stairs, same shirt and everything. And we ran up there, and we made sure nobody else had gone up there, and nobody was up there. So both Shayla and I saw a full, that was my, but besides the shadow guy at the dead end, that was our first, like, full
That's awesome.
figure that we...
Because you got, somebody else saw that with you.
Yeah. And it was that, you saw that, right? You saw that. Oh my gosh, we just saw that. Yeah, it was really, really cool. Yeah, I kind of missed the off-Broadway. It was very, very cool.
That was a fun place to investigate.
Yeah.
I'm doing the overnighters there.
There's
Getting
that
locked in at
theater
midnight.
in downtown, the Eccles Theater.
Uh-huh.
I was just there the other week for the first time ever. And there was definitely stuff there.
Oh, I think like that place, the Capitol Theater. I don't think you can
Capitol
go to an
Theater's
old
definitely
theater
haunted.
and have it not be haunted.
Yeah, there was like, so I was sitting on the end of this row, and there was definitely something standing off to the side of me. You know, nobody's there, but I could definitely feel them standing there.
Mm-hmm.
See, I
Yeah.
got the cheat sheet when I go to the theaters and stuff like that. I've been to Capitol Theater, and Brandy's like, "Look at all the spirits here," and I'm like, "I can't."
That's right.
You can
She
look
is a
at them.
cheat sheet. I love sitting and listening to Brandy and just. Yeah, I always want to be like, whenever I know I'm going to be with her, I'm like, hey, don't ask too many questions.
So
Don't bug her.
there's a story that keeps popping in my head.
Oh,
and
we didn't ding it, by the way.
we-
Thank you.
Jesse
As a
will-
listener, I enjoy the ding.
Jesse will get mad if we don't ding. I think this was you. I think it was around the time, one of the times we went to Family Tree, and I know there was a little bit where you wouldn't go back there at all because of, I believe, something your son saw in the car.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about. Yes, we got to talk about that.
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
This story just kept popping in my head, and obviously I wasn't there, but
Yeah.
I remember there was a extended period of time where you refused to go to that building because of this one
Yes.
incident.
So no, you were not there because it was the night that so this goes back to the old podcast that we had where Erin had joined. We took her to dinner there as like her initiation. So no, you weren't there that night. Sorry.
That's okay.
I feel bad that we didn't invite you. But
I was
anyway,
probably working.
probably. No, we oh my gosh. Okay, so my mom passed away in 2014. And the twins were 5, I believe. So they don't really remember her that well, but they remember her enough. Anyway, when we left there, we actually told everybody, like, make sure that you say don't follow us because we'd been there a couple of times with you guys. And so we were worried that, like, Lucy would recognize us and maybe come home with us. We forgot to do that. So we get home, we took Erin and Andy home, and I had to take my friend Liz, her son Hayden was babysitting my kids, and we had to take Hayden home. And Ty wanted to come with me. And so I had an Armada at the time, so we drove Hayden home, and I went in to say, you know, hi and thanks for letting us borrow Hayden to my friend, as you do. And as also me and the woman of a million words can't do is not just say hi and goodbye. I have to like, so I was in there for a little too long talking to her, and Ty had stayed in the car, and maybe, I'm guessing 5 or 6 minutes after I was talking to Liz, he came booking it out of the car into her house and was like not just sobbing, but like screaming, sobbing. Are you okay? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? No, Grandma's in the car. And I was like, Grandma's not in the car, honey. I mean, even his other grandma, I'm like, it wouldn't have been her, but you know, your grandma, he kept saying your grandma, but meaning my mom. And I was like, no, Grandma instead, you know. Mm-hmm. No, I saw her. And we finally got him calmed down enough that he said she was sitting in the front. So he was sitting in the middle row, but in the middle seat. So the very center of the car. He said that he saw her sitting in the passenger seat in the front and that she turned around and smiled at him. And then at first he was like, Grandma, like, what are you doing in the car? And then he said, Mom, she smiled at me and her smile was all wrong. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, it just kept going and it got big and her teeth were really sharp and pointy. And I was like,
chills.
Fuck it, Lucy. Like, I knew it was Lucy. I was so mad. Lucy, I know that you guys have talked about
Yeah.
Lucy the
Tree a
demon
lot.
princess.
And I know she'll go in your car because that was the first time I went
Yep.
there, and she had to have been in my car.
Yeah. I'll have to hear that story, but you probably told it and I just don't remember it.
I
But
don't know if I have.
He hasn't.
you haven't?
I
was gonna
haven't
say, I
heard the
don't know if I've heard
story,
it.
so.
Oh, okay. But anyway, yeah, so I was pissed. And I got in my car and I was like screaming into my empty car. I'm sure her neighbors were like, what is going on? Because it was like midnight. And anyway, I came home and I said, Kev, and I told him what happened. And he doesn't feel spirits. Like this is actually one of 2 times that I can think of that he's actually told me about, that he's had a spirit experience. He went out into the garage and he did something that has to do with, whatever. And the dad power, the dad prayer, the dad power, whatever. But yeah, even he was like, oh man, I felt like my life was in danger walking into our garage. And like the whole, whoops, oh my gosh, you guys, seriously, just take my hands down. The whole drive home, I just remember being so angry because I could still feel it in the car. And poor Ty, he was, I don't even know if he remembers that, but I also don't want to bring it up in case he does.
Just don't let him listen to this episode.
Yeah.
And we're good.
That's probably a good idea. But yeah, anyway, that's my Lucy story. I was very angry.
I remember that one.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That is pretty nuts, though, that he actually saw that.
Yeah.
Because the one that she felt like she might have been in my car, because the very first time I went, I was leaving, and I don't think we had said, don't follow us, anything like that either. And my brother and I had gotten into my car, and I was driving, and I was getting onto the freeway. And I had driven the whole way there with it being dark, okay? So it was already dark when we got there. I was getting on the freeway. All of a sudden, as I'm getting on, which the freeway entrance is right there next to the place. Yeah. Getting on, I hear a click, and it's my sunglass case or holder that's above me, and it drops down. I was like, what the shit?
Those don't bounce open.
No, there was nothing to bounce on. It did not bounce. I'm just making the turn, and it's just like a smooth turn. All of a sudden, click, and I just see it come down. Like, what the shit?
I lied. I've heard this story.
Yeah, you have heard. I know you have. So I just closed it, not thinking anything of it, just going, that was weird.
Weird cars.
Yeah, but in my head, I kind of knew. And then the next day following that, something weird happened where I heard this loud exhale coming from the foot of our bed when I was married with my ex.
Neato.
And when hearing that, I thought that what she had done was like spread her cheeks and farted. Because it was like...
That's... Okay,
but like
that's a visual.
But kind of like a more of a deeper, like there would have had some bass to it if
you describe things the same way I do. Like, like if they spread their cheeks and farted, like
right. That's the only way to make that.
You're so irritated with us right now.
But when I thought that, she was like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "Yeah, you gross shit." She's all, "No, it wasn't." I'm like, "Whatever." She's like, "I'm like, so." Like, no, come here. You're like, I'm not going near you right now. Man. But anyways, kind of after a minute of the back and forth, it was like, I knew what it was, but I was trying not to scare her. But that's when I was kind of like, get the hell out of here. You're not allowed here. Like, saying that in my head, but didn't have any issues after that. But
gosh, she's a nasty. What is that building now? Like, what has become of Miss
Last
Lucy?
I heard, the owners, well, I'm sure she's still there. None of the spirits, I don't think any of the spirits bailed. Just because of kind of what was going on there with the spirits. But I believe the new owners were talking about turning it into a vegan restaurant in Santaquin, Utah.
I don't know if that's going to go very well. There's a lot of cowboys out there.
It's probably like the least vegan city.
Sorry, I couldn't even hide my facial. No offense to any vegans out there. You do you. More power to you.
But I don't know about out there. Out there
in Santaquin?
In the middle of Santaquin, which is like the middle of
farm country.
Yeah, they're not going to do so well.
I mean, if it was a little up the road, like up in Payson, like Spanish Fork, maybe, but not in Santaquin.
I think the probably would have to be in Provo to where it would like.
That's where all the snowflakes live.
Maybe.
I mean, what? I said that's where all the snowflakes live. I don't know. Yeah, maybe Provo, Orem area. That's still farther north. Santaquin is just, it's all like farms.
That's what I'm saying. They're cowboys. They want steak and barbecue.
Pretty much, yeah.
That would make money there.
Steak and barbecue.
I know that does sound good though, right?
Steak and barbecue sounds
delicious. Going to dinner after this? Like, Garage Grill's right there, right?
We don't go to Garage anymore.
You don't?
Actually, I heard the restaurant side's not as bad as the bar
right,
side.
I think we need to go to that side if we go there.
We've been to the bar side twice, and it's terrible customer service.
Oh, really? Oh, we go there all the time. It's my daughter's favorite restaurant.
We used to go to the one in Draper a lot. And then when this one opened, and it being only the bar side open at first, it was like, not a good experience. Went there a couple more times. 3 strikes in a row. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. We've always had great food
we never
service
sit
at the
on
restaurant.
But also, granted, on this new one, we haven't sat on the
We haven't been
restaurant
on the
side.
restaurant side. It's always been the bar
always on
side.
the-
Get the burger with the rosemary garlic aioli. Nobody will want to sit by you for 3 days, but damn.
Did you even
it's
finish that
good.
burger?
Why wouldn't I have?
Because of how thick they put on that aioli.
I can't remember. Oh my god,
That was the first time we went when they forgot to put your
Oh,
brother's
and it was
wings
almost
in.
like hot or something.
It was like thick. Like they spread it on like peanut butter. There was so much on there.
Yeah, I think it was like so much garlic that it was like.
See, I love the guy.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not a
was
vampire.
like,
I like
I'm
I like garlic. I'm a big fan of garlic,
Well,
but
that's
it
the
was
thing.
like
He's more of a basic white chick than you are.
no, like so when it comes to garlic, like I like garlic, but it was like the way they put it on was
There
like
was a
very
lot.
unappetizing.
You could smell it. Like there was so much.
No,
I
no,
hear nothing wrong about this.
No, I'm telling you right now, I like garlic. Like I'll eat a whole clove of it, like just when it's like cooked like oven roasted or whatever. Like
dude.
those are awesome.
Delicious.
But the way
Proving his
this
manliness
was-
right now.
But the way they made that with it on there was just it was overpowering. It was overdone. Way overdone with it. Like it was
It was
not
dripping off my burger, and I still
It
could
was unappetizingly overdone.
Yeah.
It was weird because I like garlic. Like I said, it was. But
I'm disgusting when it comes to my condiments. I'm
maybe
like,
it was more. Maybe the garlic wasn't cooked all the way or something, and it was still raw. I don't know.
I don't know. I know I'm getting hungry.
Maybe.
Okay, let's talk about ghosts because I'm starving.
Goes.
Garlic.
Garlicky ghosts.
It's funny. I always get so sorry.
Those
now I'm
are
going back to.
vampires.
I get so mad at my husband when he eats garlic. I'm like, oh, do you ever want me to kiss you again? Then I go to a restaurant and I'm like, garlic, onions. Such a hypocrite. Anyway, so let's talk about No Face.
Okay.
You can probably tell as much or more of the story than I can.
It's so
The
weird
last
that I
time
can
you,
remember
that you helped me.
random shit. I was in the parking lot of Sprouts when I started getting the text messages from you. I can remember random shit like that. Where I was when you started messaging me. And it wasn't just like, hey, how's it going? No, you're full on stories. I wish I still had these messages. But you were telling me about some of the stuff that was going on in your house. And
Yeah, everything was pretty quiet for a while, and then all of a sudden we just had shit. Just so much stuff going on in our house. And I was cranky. Like,
And this was after.
oh, wait, this was a couple years ago. This was
again like 2019. This was
Yeah.
fairly recent.
Okay.
yeah, before the I think just before the pandemic.
And-
But I knew something was off. I was like, I don't feel good. Something's going on.
What's interesting is like for situations like this, normally I would have been like, "Hey, Brandy, I need your help," but I did end up calling her while I was at your house. But Caden is the one that I ended up bringing with me to come and check this out. And I remember towards the tail end of it when we actually did the energy work. But I remember coming in, and Caden and I were kind of filling things out, and it was one of those. This happens a lot to me when I go into someone's house or go into a place like. I can kind of feel where the spirits are. Caden can too. And it was one of those where we could kind of feel it like bouncing from room to room, like it was running from us. I know at one point it went into your bedroom. And then I think that's when we called Brandy because we couldn't figure out what was going on. And she kind of walked us through like what we needed to do to get rid of it. So I think we did like kind of like the house clearing thing.
We need to explain what it looked like. Well, what Caden said it looked like. Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay, I do. Let me
I
speak
remember-
over for you.
I remember the energy healing and towards the
Oh,
end,
I do
don't.
too. Yeah, have you heard this story yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I
it's
haven't
crazy.
told it on the show.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good story. Yeah, so you got there first, and then Caden came with his wife. And when Caden, when I opened up my front door, we walk in my front door, my stairs go down like almost right next to the stairs. And I opened the door, he came in, hey, how are you? Gave me a hug, and then he looked up over my shoulder and went, shit. Because it had just come up the stairs and was standing behind me, and he said he'd never seen an entity like this before. But it was this tall male figure that didn't have a face, but she could probably have guessed because we called him the no face. But yeah, he was like, I've never seen that before. He no face,
Wow.
just a void.
Oh, that's pretty
Here.
nice.
See, I've never
So-
seen. I don't see him. I know what Brandy is, and Caden
Yeah.
have explained to me.
Yeah.
Like Lucy, the demon princess, doesn't have eyes. It's
Yeah,
just
that's
black holes where her eyes should be.
That's super
So
fun.
usually, when it comes to something more negative or demonic, not always something inhuman, Sometimes those things, they try to take on human shapes, but they can't. They're imperfect, so there will be a flaw somewhere.
He had a big flaw.
He had a huge flaw. There was no
Big
face.
flaw. No face. No face.
I remember like the energy in your house. I'd never felt it that negative before. It was
it was
bad.
really off. Really off.
Did they say where this came from?
It was a curse. Brandy said it was a
that's
curse.
right.
Someone had sent it to you from somewhere. We don't know who or why,
Thanks if you're out there. Appreciate it.
but it was sent there by someone, and we're not sure. We never figured out who, but
There's only one person I can think of on this planet who really doesn't like me, and I just don't think he has that ability. So
wasn't
I'm
me.
really, it wasn't him. So I'm really confused.
I create problems so I could fix them and charge nothing for it.
This thing was like
Yes.
the John Wick.
Yes.
The spirit world is coming to collect.
I'm thinking maybe, yeah, I'm back.
See, I get that one.
It's a good movie. Pretty much
They're
that
coming
one.
out with the fourth one.
Release.
Yes. So I know we did their cleansing. We cleansed the house. I think at this point, I was using sprays that someone gave me.
You used everything.
I think I
you
had
used
everything.
crystals, sprays, salts. But yeah, the kicker of the night was the salt circle.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened?
I do remember. I remember. So we put down a salt circle in the kitchen. I think Caden and I were, and all three of us were standing in the circle of salt. And I started doing some energy work with her. And I remember being, like, normally I was like, you've seen me do it where I kind of clear your aura and I start with the back of your head and I push all the energy down and out. That's something that Brandy has taught me. I remember starting, and I remember I've never experienced this before and I haven't experienced it since, but it felt like something was pushing my hands up, keeping me from pushing down. And I did later find out it was just my subconscious. It was me, just like I was unsure of myself because of how negative it was, the thing that we were dealing with. And it was my self-doubt that was keeping me from doing it. But I was able to clear your
Don't
energy.
doubt yourself, Tim.
Well,
You're amazing.
Like I said, I haven't had this problem since. But
I have that effect on men.
That's a problem.
Kevin will be like,
give us a
she's a
minute?
problem. She has an
I need
effect.
you to leave your room. It's your house. I'm kicking
Leave
you
your
out.
room.
Leave your room. I need a minute alone. Camera's still rolling, so you can watch it later.
Give me the.
Take the iPad with you.
Yeah, that's what
You can watch it from in the hall. Shit. I do remember.
Do you need help to get back to the story, Tim?
So I remember, like, we cleared your energy, and like it was once I had like finished, there was a definite like difference. Like it felt a lot lighter. And I remember when we were done, you kind of looked at Caden and I and asked which one of us was chanting. And we looked at her like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Well, no, I didn't ask which one of you was chanting. I wanted to know where the music was, because I was like, was that from your phone? Because it didn't sound like it was a recording. It sounded like it was like this live Native American chanting.
So I did have some music playing, but it wasn't the normal like Native American music I play when I was do energy work. I think it was more of there's one, it's on Spotify, it's called European Spa, where it's just like water sounds and stuff like that. So I play music to kind of help set the mood. But she heard Native American.
set the mood.
Set the
Yeah,
mood.
he's setting the mood.
Yeah. But yeah, she asked where the
chanting was
chanting
coming from.
and the sounds were coming from. And Kate and I were just like, what are you talking about?
Interesting.
Yeah,
You're
I
hearing
heard
a lot.
full-on Native American chanting, and it was beautiful. It was so pretty. And we put two and two together. Oh, it's our friend, Native American Indian chief, that won't tell us his name, and his crowd of people.
Interesting.
We're there helping out.
Yeah.
Helping clear the negativity out of
Negativity.
the house. Yep.
Really cool.
Yeah, it was
I wish I
really,
could have
really
heard what she heard, but
It
yeah,
was,
when she asked about it, I was just like,
Yeah,
the
it
look on
was
my face,
loud.
I was just like, what are you talking about? There's
yeah,
nothing.
I that moment I was like, am I crazy? Just like from the look on your face. But like it
But
was
you heard it,
loud.
yeah,
Yeah, it
that's-
wasn't like a maybe I heard this. It was as if, how I can hear your voice. It was really neat.
And then we're like, now you have to sweep off your floor. We just put
Yeah,
salt
now
on.
there's salt everywhere.
Now you
there's
get to
salt.
clean up. We're leaving. But no, it was almost instantaneous. Just like how heavy the energy was and how quickly it went to like light. And
Yeah, and we've had no problem since. No negative issues since. So I don't know what that was, where it came from.
I don't know either.
Got rid of him though.
Yeah, take that.
Sent it.
She has powerful
Punched
friends.
him in his no face.
If it was you and you're listening, she
Thanks
knows
a
people.
lot. I do. People.
People.
They help me.
Yes.
They're amazing.
That was kind of
They're
a
so
fun
cool.
story. That was a
That was
weird
really fun
night.
story. That was a weird night. But I'm just like, I don't, what would I have done if I didn't have a beaker? Like, who do you call when you're like, crap, I think that something is stalking me in my own house again. I can tell that this isn't me being cranky, like something's oppressing me again. Like, who do you call, you know?
Right.
Tim Beaker. Anyway, so yeah,
I do
that's my
stuff.
story.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just have a couple. I can cruise through these because I know that we've been talking for quite a while.
It's like our episodes lately have been like 20 to 30 minutes, so I think people will be happy
Lara's
to have
here, man.
people will be happy to have an episode that they can listen to
Sink
while
their
they're
teeth
Yeah,
working.
this is a to work on the way home from work, and then finish it off later while
They
you're
just
soaking in
beg
the
and sell a run
bathtub.
for their money.
Yeah, that's right.
They're 2-hour episodes.
2 hours. Family friendly. Not here.
Nope.
Nope. Anyway, yeah, I have a couple of other fun stuff because you were asking about experiences of the places that I've traveled to.
Yes, you've been
And-
to. I know you've been to Queen Mary.
Oh yeah, tell us. Yeah, I want to
And
hear why you don't want to stay there.
I don't
again.
remember the stories. I'm sure I've heard it.
It was freaking terrifying. Yeah, I went down to LA with Shayla because she breeds dogs. Clearly, this is when she still lived here, and she was having a dog imported from Russia. So we went down to LAX to go pick it up, and we didn't have any. We were just going to do hotel tonight to just get a cheap room to stay overnight. And we were eating at the Denny's in St. George, and I said, "Wouldn't it be hilarious if we stayed at the Queen Mary?" And then we just stared at each other, and the next thing we knew, I'd booked a room because we were like, "That would be amazing."
Because the Queen Mary is like right next to St. George.
Well, I mean, they're on their way.
Yeah, we were on our way because we're going to LA.
That's true.
And
I don't
yeah,
think you can go to the Queen Mary anymore.
no,
Unfortunately.
there's such a fight over it right now. I don't know that it'll ever. Plus, it's like sinking.
Oh shit.
So, yeah, like it won't sink all the way because it's in
Yeah.
the harbor and it's got rocks under it,
Did
but
you-
it's like
Did
falling
you get
apart.
the room
damn.
in the Queen Mary?
No,
did you
because
get
they
near it?
reopened that after.
Oh, okay.
We did walk by it. It actually didn't even have the number on the door because they were like trying to hide it. But no, we just walked by it. I didn't feel anything weird from it. But
Yeah, when they reopened it, they outfitted the room with Ouija boards and other stuff to conduct seances and
so
shit.
smart. Good thinking.
I do remember some of the story with the man in the doorway. Go for it.
In our room.
Yes.
Yeah, so we had a double room because Shayla had her little boy with her, and so I said, okay, you guys can take the king size bed, and then I'll sleep in the off room. And these were suites that sailors have stayed in, also people with money when it was more of a luxury ship. Anyway, we both walked into the spare room, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and like almost at the same time, I said, "I'm not sleeping in here," and she said, "You're not sleeping in here." So there just was, it was gross in that room, just feeling wise, energy wise. It just was like,
You could feel something heavy.
Yeah, like the bed was fine. The bed, she's not that type of gross, but anyway.
It wasn't like black light gross. It was
No, it was
Not yet. I was
not yet. And so Shayla and her little boy and myself shared the king size bed that night, and we got no sleep. And she was so funny because she was on the side that led down the little hallway toward that room, and she put her son between her and the doorway because she was like, "I ain't being next to it. I want something to be."
I mean, shield.
Protect us, young one.
She used her like 2-year-old kid as a shield. I was laughing so hard. So she and I were like clinging next to each other all night, and we were so scared. And we kept hearing things, and I kept getting legit groped, you guys. I got grabbed everywhere. I got grabbed north and south and was getting poked. And you could, the energy, like there was air movement in the room that shouldn't have been there. There were smells in the room that shouldn't have been there. And Shayla and I, every time we opened our eyes, we were just expected to see him. I think it was just the one entity, but it was gross. She was getting it too. We were not just making this up. I was excited to stay on the Queen Mary, and the bed was super comfortable. So I was super excited to be like, "Oh, this is going to be great." Like, no, well, Have a fun night. We get to say that we slept on the Queen Mary. We were not looking for an experience at all. And we got one. We got no sleep.
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, I felt very violated. I'm not a touchy person. Not that, I mean, who likes to be groped by a ghost? Maybe some people. Maybe that's their thing. You do you.
I feel like
But
it.
I do not like being touched. And so I was annoyed and angry and felt very violated. And it was not okay.
I've never
with
heard
me.
you complain when a ghost has groped you, Ghosty. I've been there for one. They grabbed your butt in the cemetery.
I was scared and fascinated.
You really grabbed it.
He was excited. When his ass got grabbed in the cemetery.
Well, yeah. So I
was
got to
excited.
grab like a full hand grab cheek.
Oh, I was about to ask, was this like all the cuppage? Or?
It's like, so it was the first, I think it was my right cheek at first. And it was like a full grab squeeze. And as it squeezed, it like disappeared as it squeezed. And I was telling,
interesting.
I was like, dude, something just grabbed my ass. And as I'm saying it, two hands at the same time, both cheeks, and it was like a double squeeze. And it's doing it again. It's doing it right now, both hands.
It was probably like some 80-year-old lady who hadn't gotten her jellies in
No,
a
it was
long
a
time. It was
dude.
like, come
It was
here,
a
young-"
dude.
Oh, it was? Oh.
Funny is I probably have that conversation on audio somewhere. Because I'm pretty sure I was recording that night.
Yeah, probably. And
Okay,
I'm
you
like,
gotta
dude,
find
something's
that.
grabbing it's grabbing it again. Both hands, both hands.
And that's not an area that you're not going to know what's
No,
happening if somebody
I
touches
could definitely feel a squeeze. Like I felt
I
the
saw him
grab
jump,
and
too.
squeeze. And I jumped. I'm like, dude, something just, and then it again.
Wait for seconds.
Yeah. And it was like squeeze, like then I went for the double squeeze.
We were facing each other. So
Yeah. Like he
my
saw
arms-
my reaction. I
My
mean,
arms aren't that long.
it wasn't a normal, I'm like, did you just grab my ass type of, like, definitely something
I
grabbed
know
my
your
ass.
tricks, Dewey.
I know your tricks.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty funny. I think I would have just laughed and been like, whoop.
But no, he started taking pictures, and then, yeah, Brandy was able to see who it was.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
it
was a dude,
Yeah.
an old guy or a
not an
younger
old guy. No, I
Oh.
think it was younger.
Oh, well.
Yeah, well, this is like right before those teenagers showed up and we had to like run out of the cemetery so we didn't get caught.
Yeah,
Because we weren't supposed to be there.
Ooh.
We
After
never
hours
broke
and
into a
stuff.
cemetery.
we don't have
What
to.
are you talking about?
We don't
What?
have to break into nothing. It's just walk.
Yeah, we just walked in.
Just
And
walk.
The cemetery is
There's
huge
not even
too.
a
It's
wall or a
like
fence.
it's like a mile
It
long.
was inviting, if anything.
Exactly. You're being beckoned by the headstones.
Yes,
Oh, that is funny.
that's crazy.
I love
Queen Mary.
cemeteries. I really need therapy, but I think cemeteries are
I think
amazing.
this is therapy right here.
It really is. It
And then
really
you
is.
said you went to Myrtle's plantation.
We did. I've seen the mirror. The mirror. Is it haunted? Not in my opinion.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
messaged me like right after we released that episode.
I'm like, dude, been there. Yeah, it's cool to see it just because you hear so many stories about it. But the marks, to say that it's a hand and a face, you have to like tilt your head to 32 degrees and squint your left eye mostly, and then really still use your imagination.
Yeah,
It's
I'm not a
clear-
fan of having to do that.
It's clearly just the old. I mean, those mirrors, they're made out of all kinds of
Metal
funky
and
chemicals
stuff.
and metals. You can tell it's just stainage from over the years. However, my daughter saw a ghost in the plantation, so that was really cool. And again, this is a daughter that she's the most level-headed person on the planet. She's
Like outside, she saw it outside.
no, inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, outside there was sadness around the slave cabins, which how can there not be? You know,
Right.
of course that energy is going to stick around there, but no, inside it just was really kind of fascinating. I didn't feel anything dark or anything like that, but yeah, we were walking into I think it was the parlor or whatever, the sitting room, the drawing room, whatever they called them back then. And Layla saw, she didn't see a head, but she saw a full apparition minus the head, but she saw a full white lacy dress. And it walked through a wall, and she turned around, and her face just kind of drained. But she wasn't scared. She just was like, "Mom, did you see that?" And I said, "See what?" Because I was just right behind her. That lady just walked right through the wall. And I said, "Where?" She pointed. Oh my gosh, Mom! I was like, "It's fine. It's just one of the people who used to live here. Could be intelligent, could be residual. Who knows? Don't worry about it." And she was like, "Okay." Cool.
It's not here for you.
Yeah, and now she's like, guess what? I saw this ghost in it. So yeah, she did see.
That is
would
pretty
you
cool.
would you still consider that a full apparition? Because you said she saw the hands and the feet and everything, just not the head.
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
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 Full body apparition.
Just the headless
Yeah.
full body.
I mean, how much of it did she see walking through the wall? Maybe the head was already through it.
No, the full
For the head to be through before the body, they would
mean,
have been walking
yeah,
with
like-
their head down,
Yeah.
like diving through the wall.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
she saw it go from the hall through the wall into the room where
She's
everybody
doing like
gathered.
that. Was that Naruto run to the head forward?
Like they do in the cartoons when they're trying to break down a door. So I got this.
So yeah, that was a really cool experience. We've been to several plantations, and they all just have that same feeling of just sad. But yeah, we've been to many in the South. But yes, we've been to Myrtle Plantation. We've been to the Stanley Hotel very recently. We stayed overnight there
Oh, really?
in July. Yes, that was
Just
a
barely?
lifelong goal for me. Yeah.
Any experiences?
No,
Oh man.
no, most comfortable bed I've ever slept in my whole life. I wanted to
you
have an
stay in
experience,
the-
but we did not have
Did
any.
you stay in the main building? Or okay.
Yep.
I got lucky, and I booked my room like the Monday before we left. I think we stayed there Friday night, and they upgraded me to a suite, so I didn't even stay in the main hotel. I stayed off into the other building.
Okay, do you know what's funny? When I booked our room, at the time because we had 4 kids with us because my daughter brought a friend on our road. We take a huge road trip every year, and this was our last stop. Was at the Stanley, and they had a suite in the hotel, but then they did some remodeling and they no longer had those big rooms in the hotel, so they offered us one of those off campus. What would you call it? Suites.
Yeah.
But I said no because I wanted to stay in the main building, and so we ended up getting 2 separate rooms.
Everyone that I was with was jealous that I had the nicer room because it was. You walk
Yeah.
in, you got the closet right there. Off to the right was the bedroom with the TV and all that, and then you had a living room with a pull-out couch. Oh, it was awesome. And then they gave us free breakfast in the
Yeah,
morning.
when we told them no, the woman, when I called her and I was like, no, we really want to stay in the hotel. It took her a second to respond because she was like, what? You're turning down like our $1,500 a night suite? And I said, yeah, I am. Because I wanted to stay in the hotel itself.
Did you try to do any investigating in there?
We just did the ghost tour at night.
Oh, so the hotel
So-
does a ghost tour?
Yeah,
there?
they do.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Nice.
great. They take
Yeah.
you in
The theater.
they take you in a theater, and we actually had when I was there, we had some experiences. They
Did
take
you?
you down. They took you downstairs with the one spirit. I can't remember her name. It was like Lacey or something like that. Would open the door.
I don't remember
or
her
close the
name
door.
either, but I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I had that on video. I recorded it on my phone of the spirit actually closing the door. And when I tried to upload it to Facebook, it's like delete video, and I'm like, no, and it's like okay, and it deleted it. Like
I remember you telling me that
it
story
was
now.
the weirdest thing. I've never had that happen before, but I remember like I literally hit upload, and it popped up on my screen. It's like delete, and I hit the no button, and it's like okay, and it deleted it, and I was like,
It's
and this
so
is before
crazy how
my
that
phone had
happens.
like a trash folder and all that, so I was just like, what the hell?
That is so crazy.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's so
What
weird.
happened with an episode? I was a guest on your podcast, and the whole episode just vanished.
I forgot about that too. It
No
did.
way.
You had to
me-
redo it.
She had a. I don't think we ever did redo it.
No, we did.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't remember. I do remember. I do remember. I went on. It was for Halloween time, and like they went to upload it, and the file was just gone.
Yeah.
off
I
their
felt so
computer.
bad about that. I was like, he's going to think that we deleted it on purpose. We got to get him back so he knows that we want to. But no, we re-recorded it. It wasn't as good because it never is when you try to redo it.
Right,
so.
yeah.
That's always worse.
Yeah.
The second time.
But oh my gosh, I forgot about that too.
The ghost tour. So you went underneath the building, like where the.
Yeah.
If you want to take a ghost tour of Stanley without actually going there, watch the 1990s made-for-TV remake of The Shining, because they actually shot it at the Stanley,
Yeah.
as well as scenes of Dumb and
Dumb
Dumber.
and Dumber. Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah, that was...
Yeah. I love that hotel. I didn't want to leave. Just
Oh, it was beautiful.
Something about that hotel. I'm like, I could work here. I'd love it here. I loved it there.
I haven't been back. I
never
went
been
in
yet.
2015 is when I went.
Yeah.
That was right when I first started working at Dannon. And we were kind of rushed on the trip because someone that didn't believe in ghosts just insisted on being on the trip. And they couldn't get that Sunday off. So we got up early to check out and book it back here to Salt Lake so that person could go to work. So we didn't get a chance to like kind of, I wanted to walk through Estes because it's a very beautiful
Oh my
city.
gosh, it is the coolest little city. Okay, field trip. We're all going, right?
I'm
I would
down.
love
I want
to
to
go.
go check it out.
It's
Oh,
funny.
I
is
want to go back so bad.
So far, what the medium there told me is true. I'm like, I'll talk to you some other time because like I was gonna get a reading. I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm like, I might have to go get some cash. I don't have any on me right now. And she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna give you a reading because you'll never be back. So, and she kicked Brandy out of the room. And it was funny because I still remember some of the stuff she told me. So I'm 40 now. I was supposedly going to be married and had a kid by the time I was 38. I showed her.
Yeah.
You have a dog.
I'm
That's a kid.
babysitting a dog right now.
Well, still. I
But
well,
I always
shouldn't say that.
I always tell.
Don't get yourself in trouble.
I love my children. I do.
I always when I'm talking to Brandy, I'm like, so how's my dog? I'm like, thanks for watching my dog for me.
Oh, it's cute.
But yeah, I remember she. It was funny because there was I can't remember exactly what gift it was, but she actually gave Brandy an ability to do something
That's really cool.
before she left the room. But yeah, she's like, yeah, you're not going to be back anytime soon, so I'll just give you a free reading. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
That was the first reading I ever got too. The one thing that she did tell me about actually did come true. Because I was just started at Dan and I'd only been there for 4 months. I was working in the warehouse and she's like, you're going to get a promotion soon and you're going to be working. She's like, I see something with schematics and stuff like that. When I got back, I was offered a higher paying position on the production floor.
Sweet.
And on the computer, like it has the full schematics of the production lines and stuff like that. So I knew I was getting the way it works there is it's a union. So you put in a bid if you're highest bidder. So I knew I was going to win the bid before I even got back to work.
Oh, funny. That's cool. That
That's
is really cool. I love that.
But I love that place. It was fun.
Yeah. Oh, you walk in and you're just like, I'm home. I love it there. It's really cool. Yeah, so other adventures are Savannah. We went to Savannah this year. Again, I was not able to stay there long enough. I loved Savannah. It was amazing. We went to the Bonaventure Cemetery. I could have been there all day, but the stupid teenagers were complaining about being hot. What was wrong with them?
Teenagers.
But yeah, I had one ghost experience in Savannah. I wanted more, but there's a lot of energy. We ate dinner in a restaurant down by the river that used to, like, we walked in and I was like, oh, there's dark energy in here. And we learned later that it was basically a lot of slaves worked in there with the cotton, and they, like, to get them ready to go on the ships and stuff. But yeah, we stayed in a renovated carriage house for our Airbnb. And as we were trying to go to bed, again, I was still awake. Kevin was still awake. He saw this happen. Something, so I've got my head on the pillow and my head's near the corner of the bed because it was a queen size bed and my husband's not small. And so I was
I tell people I think it's funny because your husband is like built like a football player and he's an accountant.
He's a scout. He does not look like an accountant at all.
But he's a big dude. He
big
looks
guy.
like he could be a linebacker and he's an accountant.
He was in high school. But anyway, yeah, on the corner where my head was, the whole bed visibly shook, like something took both of their hands and went kaboom on the corner. And because I seriously went, like that's why Kevin was like, are you okay? Are you having a seizure? I was like, something just pressed down on the bed. Anyway, it was really interesting. We just kind of laughed it off.
Wow.
But yeah, that was pretty funny.
All right, DVO, you're out. She's in. She does sound effects.
I could do all kinds of sound effects. But I loved Savannah, so I highly recommend going there. If you
I
haven't.
do want to go there. That's also on the list of places I want to go.
Yeah.
I've got a couple places I might go to next year.
Oh,
Someone hit me
can't
up
wait
about
to go
going to
back.
Waverly and Bobby Mackey's next year. I've been looking into Trans-Allegheny as well.
Trans-Allegheny would be dope.
we drove past there. That's in Kentucky, right?
Waverly's in Kentucky.
Waverly, that's what I'm thinking.
Waverly and Bobby
Pennsylvania?
Mackey's is about 2 hours north of Kentucky or Waverly.
Where's Trans-Allegheny? Was that Pennsylvania?
Virginia.
West Virginia. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, we drove through West Virginia. I remember seeing signs for it. Or even just looking on my phone. I can't remember. Anyway, I remember being sad because I wanted to go and couldn't.
That would be cool, though.
But yeah, we've been to Tower of London, the Paris Catacombs.
Any experiences? Any of those places?
I knew about the Paris catacombs because you were upset you weren't on my guest episode of
I know, I was like,
Bake and Sell.
guys, I've been there. I was kind of laughing though because you said that you wouldn't even go into the catacombs.
Oh, I totally would. So, the way we did that show is like we
Oh,
have
because
to
it was tiered.
we have to pick
That's
places that we
right.
wouldn't stay in, or places we would never visit, places that we would go on a day tour, and places that we'd spend the night alone.
Oh, okay.
That's how we did the show.
It was a ruse then.
this year and last year. Well, the last year I kept saying like I would go to this place, but for the sake of the show, and I realized like when I went back and listened to the episode, I'm like that was really annoying. So this year I'm like, no, these tiers are totally 100% legit. They weren't. I would go to any of these places in a heartbeat.
Okay, and some of the stuff you said on that episode, I was like, oh, come on, Tim. But yeah, the catacombs are amazing. I
I would
didn't
love to go to the catacombs.
I didn't feel anything negative. Just, it was sad, but but at the same time, there's also like a weird sense of pride down there because these were bodies that were just dumped in a big hole, and now they're like set up very carefully, very specifically in these tunnels.
That's like
and
art.
there's yeah, it is. It's art, and there are signs that are in honor of them, and like
My
I would
my
think it'd
only
be kind of
issue.
cool to be a skeleton down there.
My only issue with the catacombs is it's like underground,
Uh-huh.
and I have a little bit of claustrophobia. That's the main
I'm
reason why.
super claustrophobic, and I wasn't.
Okay, good.
I think you'd
would
be
like
fine.
to like explore down there. Oops. I'd like to explore down there, but also to just like free roam, but also know my way out, or like
Yeah, you
know
can't
like
free
have
roam.
exit signs.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would be
You'd get
amazing to
lost.
just exactly.
You would be
It's
one of the
huge.
skeletons.
The tour
Exactly.
is just in one very small, well, not very
Exactly,
small.
but it goes on
Yeah,
for
it
like
goes on
the length of
forever.
the city, or
yeah.
I don't know how long.
Well,
but
I mean, the skeletons are only in one part of it, but yeah, the tunnels go on and on and on. But yeah, the tour, you can wander around, and like they'll take you a certain area, and then you can wander around and
I
you
mean,
know
it
do
would
your
be-
thing there. But
it would be really cool if you could have like some kind of digital map as you're walking through and
Uh-huh.
like knowing your way out type
Called
of
Google
situation.
Maps.
Well, not they don't have a Google Maps for the catacombs.
You can map it while you're going.
There
Can
you
you?
go.
But, I mean, through the whole. Okay, what I'm saying is like having a pre-made map of like the entire catacombs,
Uh-huh.
but being able to just free roam and investigate as you're going, but also have a way to find your way out of there when you're done.
yeah,
Those people that snuck in somehow and set up like a whole movie theater in there.
yeah,
No, there
it's
was
crazy.
like
a
I think
restaurant.
there's like raves and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because there are so many entrances to different places that you can get into. But
Just-
yeah, you could get in trouble down there for
Just
sure.
watch that movie As Above, So Below.
But I
you
mean,
can see
just
the
all the
catacombs.
places that you're not able to get to is what I want to.
Is what you wanna
Just
see?
explore, and also like investigate and see
Yeah.
if there's like, because I guarantee there's so many shadow people down there running
Probably,
around.
yeah. But yeah, even the tour itself was great. It lasted a couple of hours, and it was worth every second and every cent. It was not expensive, but yeah, you won't leave feeling like you didn't experience something really cool. So yeah, that was really neat.
That would be awesome.
Really, really loved that. Yeah, I that was my favorite part of Paris. Paris itself, I didn't love, but
I hear Paris
like-
isn't that great.
it's
Yeah,
not. It's dirty,
I've heard
and the
some-
people, that whole stereotype of French people, it's true. They are dicks. Sorry if you have any French
I don't know
listeners.
if you know this, but I work for a French company.
Yeah, we know all about them.
We've worked with French people.
Okay, anyway, sorry. But where
We love them. They're great.
They're great. You're fabulous. As long as you're nice. I'm allergic to assholes. That's
Right?
it.
but you still hang around me, so.
Okay. I need to find a better word for that because I am also okay. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I
You're
mean?
not an asshole.
Well, he is, but like
in a certain
I've been
In a
told
good
by
way.
several people I'm like the nicest asshole they've ever met.
they've ever
are.
seen. You're the nicest asshole I've ever seen.
You haven't seen my. What? So where else have you been?
Tower of London.
That sounds fun.
It was really fun. It was really neat.
Did you see the zoo? Did they have the menagerie thing? Or whatever?
They just have the ravens. Is that what
The
you're talking
ravens? No, well, I know the ravens. They used to be. I thought they had like statues of the animals because there used to be a zoo there a long time ago.
about? No, I don't remember seeing that.
I haven't been there. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. There's definitely a lingering sense of dread in there because a lot of people went in and very few went out. So there are certain areas where you can really feel that
I
just
think there
still
was
kind of
some
hanging on.
people that were like behanded there. Maybe
Just a few.
Just a couple.
Just a few
handful,
people.
like-
Just
100,000.
few, yeah. I thought it was fascinating. Westminster Abbey is really, really cool. I did not know that thing is basically a giant crypt. That just never, because when I think of Westminster Abbey, you picture like the royal weddings and things like that. I didn't know that behind that is like crypts upon crypts upon crypts. Like, it is, and that kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, that building, I could have been there all day. But yeah, it was really, really neat. And the old cemeteries, oh my gosh, they have old cemeteries on every corner, and everyone I'd be like, I gotta stop and see, I gotta stop. And my sister was like, oh my gosh. She was so annoyed with me because I wanted to go in all the old churches and look at all of the old headstones. And yeah, I loved it.
Well, then you should go to that cemetery that was in, I can't remember, Southern America, Central America. The one that we talked about on Bacon Cell. That is like a city, basically.
Oh, was it in Mexico?
Probably.
I'm trying to remember.
I think it's in Mexico.
I vaguely remember you guys talking about that. But yeah, I love cemeteries. And like the cemeteries in New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah, really, really cool. But honestly, my favorite ghost encounters, and then I will end my ghosty testimony with this. I've had some encounters with my mom, and how can those not be your favorite? Is when it's somebody that you were. I was super close to my mom.
La Recoleta Cemetery.
La Recoleta?
Yeah.
Let's
we'll talk
go.
about it on the. We'll do it on a future episode.
Sweet.
But it's at definitely somewhere. Somewhere I said I wouldn't go, but I totally would go there. Like, it's huge. It would be easy to get lost in and investigate. It would be fun. But anyway, sorry.
No, I think cemeteries are fascinating. But yeah, with my mom, I have not seen her. I've had a couple of things happen in my house, but most recently I had something happen in August. Because I had a lot of health issues over the summer because, yay, getting older. I had 2 abdominal surgeries. My second one was kind of a doozy to heal from, and Kevin had to work, and so my dad's retired, so he came and helped me out because we have a farm and had to get the kids to school, things like that. So he came to be me for a little while. And the first day that he wasn't there the full day, he ended up coming later that day in the afternoon. But that morning I was feeling good enough that I could get up and get myself breakfast and walk around. And I was in my kitchen, and our bathroom upstairs is on the other end of the floor. And I could hear her call from that area just as clear, again, as I'm talking to you. Mike! I could hear my mom's voice calling my dad. It's like, because he'd been there every day, and then he wasn't there. So I think that she was looking for him. Like, why aren't you here taking care of Lara? But I just heard Mike, just the way that she would say when she was alive. Yeah.
She was there that night with the No Face Man.
Yeah.
She was moving stuff around in the laundry area. I remember that now.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, every once in a while, I'll feel her, or I'll smell her, or something will be moved, or I've had a lot of experiences. That could be its own episode, but I love my mom visits, and I also love animal visits. I've had a lot of like my pets who've passed on come back to visit. I've seen 2 of them.
Really? What did you see?
Those really large dogs. She had some horses.
I have not seen the Great Danes.
She had some really big Great Danes. Those dogs were fun.
They were a lot of fun. So we had a flat-coated retriever that you know how you have like the dog who will be the dog that all the dogs that you will ever have will be compared to. We had one of those. She was a flat-coated retriever, and her name was Nala. Everybody loved Nala.
Was she the one that smiled at you?
No, that's Maybe. She's still alive.
Maybe still alive.
No, yeah. She's still good.
That's so funny when you're like, hey, smile, and she just does
she goes, yeah, she's so funny. No, Nala was our first dog together. We got her right after we got married. And after she passed away, I saw her the next day just standing in the hallway. And I was like, oh, what? Nala, you died. And then I haven't seen her since. We had another dog at the time. Her name was Molly. This was actually sad. Molly never recovered from Nala's death because they were just peas in a pod. And we ended up having to put her down a couple of months later because she's actually started to get really violent, and she was just not okay. And we even got another dog for her, not to replace Nala, but to see if it could bring Molly out of her funk. And that was one of our Great Danes. That was Gira.
Okay.
And anyway, long story short, we had to put Molly down, and she had a really nervous pant. And the next morning, Kevin went out to go to work because he left before me, and he could hear her in the living room doing that nervous pant. And that was actually the first ghost experience he'd ever had. And so he was totally freaked out, but also really excited to tell me about it. Because I think that he thought I was just kind of full of shit. And then when he finally had an experience, he was like, oh my gosh. He was super excited. I have a kitty that I accidentally ran over. It was awful. It was awful. And I could feel him rubbing up against my legs the next day after he died. His name was AJ. He was really sweet. And I also, about 5 years ago, I tragically lost one of my horses to its colic. It was twisted gut. It was really sad. He was just a baby. He was 7, and it was awful. And it had been maybe a few months since he'd passed, maybe a few weeks, but I want to say a few months. And I was in the barn doing stuff, and I turned around, and I was facing toward what was his stall, and I saw a shadow of a horse out in his turnout area. I didn't think anything of it, just because I was used to having 2 horses there. And I just kept sweeping, and then I was like, holy shit, because I realized that my horse and then another horse that I borrowed to be with my other horse until I got another one so that he wasn't alone, they were out in the arena. Couldn't have been them. And I turned back around and it was gone, but I realized, oh my gosh, I think I just saw Ronan. Like, it was really, it was really cool. So yeah, I'm a big believer in animal spirits coming back to say hi, or I'm okay, or just hang out sometimes, and yeah. So
That's
I think
pretty
I'm done,
badass.
guys.
Yeah.
I think that is the end of my story.
That's a great positive note to leave it on.
Yeah, we wanted to end it on a good thing.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a bit of experiences, and more to come, I'm sure.
Yeah, I feel like I have less and less happening, but I think it's because I'm not, we all go through our phases where we're like super interested in something, and we were doing a ton of ghost investigating, and so you just notice more because it's on your mind. I think that's one reason why I'm having less and less experiences. But also, I've had enough that now, like, I'll even just use the oppression story as an experience, that I'm not scared of it anymore. I don't get freaked out when I'm home alone and I hear a door close. I'm just like, pick up a vacuum. That's honestly my line. I'm like, pick up a vacuum, you lazy motherfucker. So, yeah, I don't get scared by it. It doesn't bother me. Places don't really scare me that much anymore. Alive people scare me.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's kind of a cool thing to be at peace with, is just knowing that there's a spirit world, that there are good ones and dicks, but just like there are, living.
Exactly.
This is true.
Yep.
Well, right on. Well, thank you for sharing everything, Madame Hicks.
Say these things in the name of EVP, and then I will try to find that EVP for you.
Yeah, and if you find it, we'll try to post it. 'Cause we say we'll post stuff, but we don't. But
We have intentions.
the places that we intend on posting these, you can find us at evp.pod at Instagram and Facebook. If you have a story, like anything that you want us to share on the show, like we just did today, email us at evp.pod@gmail.com. You can also go to our link tree and donate money to us so we could buy our canoe.
Or you can get a Ghost Stop.
Or you can go to the Ghost Stop link and buy some ghost hunting gear. We're looking, I think the next thing that we plan on buying, or one of the things we plan on buying, is called the ANC Mini. It's supposed to kind of get it's going to get rid of the white noise.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. It's supposed to kind of eliminate the white noise on your SB7 or your S box if you have one of those. So it's supposed to be easier to hear spirits coming through on it.
That's cool.
Go check that stuff out. We need that canoe so we can sell it later and buy a yacht.
Well, all right, everybody. Ghosty, don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
This is the EVP Podcast.